I wanted to talk a little bit about what you're writing today. Did you determine your seed idea? Did you see it as a theme, thread, or one moment that jumped out at you?
I went back to my heart map, and I saw it as a theme. I had a lot of trips, and traveling was sort of a theme that jumped out at me from my heart map.
Okay.
So it was a.
Can you read a little bit of what you wrote here?
Heads Carolina, tails California. Jody Messina sings these lines, and I think of traveling. When we jump in the car for our on the road again road trips, my heart is full of adventures as well as angst. Will the menagerie of animals be okay while we are gone? Will my car hold out for one more road trip? Will my GPS reroute us numerous times? Or will Vicky ask to stop 10 or 20 times?
Keep going, because I see something about your mother here.
I love to travel. I love to see new places. This began with my mom, who wasn't afraid to get behind the wheel and take me to visit my brother in Phoenix.
So I'm going to stop you. I'm just curious. You said there were different moments on your heart map.
Yes.
That were times when you went on different road trips, and then it started with your mother. She was the first one to take you on a road trip.
Yes.
And it was to visit your brother.
Yes.
So do you have a specific memory of one time that you went to visit your brother?
Yeah, it was the time that our engine fell out of the car.
Okay. And then I'm going to assume, but tell me if I'm right, that for some of these others, there are specific memories attached to a particular trip.
Yes.
Okay, so can we go back to the heart map for a second? So tell me about a couple of the others.
Well, there's some summers in Colorado.
So can you think of one particular summer when something happened, or go ahead.
It was before we did the trip with my mom. It was the summer that we were there with my grandparents, and my parents had bought a new car and drove up in the driveway, and we didn't recognize them because they had a new car. So
Okay, so one memory, and then what about any of the others?
One of them was when, I guess it was a couple of years ago, we were in a bluebonnet field, and my uncle had said, well, I hope you didn't get in there because that's where snakes like to hide.
Okay. So one way to structure a piece of writing, a narrative, is to have a series of connected memories. Are you familiar with this book, When I Was Young in the Mountains, by
Yes.
Cynthia Ryland? And that's what she's done here, right? She's got this memory of a time she ate too much okra. And she says something like, when I was young in the mountains, grandmother spread the table with hot cornbread, pinto beans, and fried okra. And then she wants to say some more about it. And she says, later in the middle of the night, she walked through the grass with me to the Johnny house and held my hand in the dark. I promised never to eat more than one serving of okra again. And then she has this repeating line, when I was young in the mountains, and she tells us about this other time when she walked across the pasture and they stopped at Mr. and Mrs. Crawford's. So it's these different memories of times in West Virginia. You have different memories of road trips or times that you traveled.
Yes.
And I was very much struck by this opening line. Can you tell me a little bit about Heads Carolina, Tails California?
Well, it's a line from a song, and it's something that when we jump in the car, we always sing. Heads Carolina, tails California, and it's kind of how we start all of our trips.
So in this piece, in this book, you know that she has a repeating line, when I was young in the mountains, and that kind of links each of the memories. And I love this because it's so authentic. It is something that you do each time. So if you were to create a piece of writing that has a series of the moments, a series of memories rather, so the time with your mom and the engine fell out, and then you've got the time your grandparents, you didn't recognize the car, and whichever ones you want to select, you could link each of those separate memories with Heads Carolina, Tails California. Does that?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, yes. And I think I've got a new grandson, and so that would be kind of that's going to be our song for him as we think about taking him on a trip. When actually he's already been on a trip so far, that would be something that we could add for him.
So it's kind of something that has linked generations. So
Yes.
you're linking memories across generations, and then you're linking them with this refrain that you do each time.
Right. That's good. That's how I'm going to continue and kind of rewrite, thinking of connecting those events with with my repeating line.
Great. So then what I'd like you to do when you go off to write later today is to pick one of those memories, whichever one you want, and write the piece that is the
Okay.
description of that time.
Okay,
All right.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.